Okay, so this is going to be one of those kind of obvious statements, but if your company culture isn't already sound, you're going to have problems with your change initiative. If you haven't already earned the trust and respect of your team, you're going to have problems with your change initiative. And if perhaps you have recognized that your culture is problematic and your leadership isn't all that trusted, and therefore you've designed a culture change initiative, let me just warn you that you have probably got an uphill journey, and it may well be a kind of Sisyphean journey. You know, the Greek dude who was condemned by Zeus to endlessly roll a boulder uphill only to have it tumble to the bottom before it got to the top. Okay, on that happy note, let's look at some of the components of a good, solid culture. Trust, right? As I already kind of said. And here's the thing, respect is a key element of trust. It's basically impossible to trust someone you don't respect. Side note, it is possible to respect someone you don't trust, but that's a whole different conversation. So as leaders, we can say we respect our people, but newsflash, what we think or say doesn't actually matter, because what does matter is what they experience. Respect is in the eye of the beholder. Respect is an aspect of their experience interacting with you. And now, I will admit that this treads dangerously close to something a long ago manager said to me, that perception is reality. I hated that statement, but sadly, it is true. And if you want to lead, if you want to influence your team, if you want to guide them through change, or in any situation, you have to start by respecting them. And it has to be their perception that you respect them. You need to earn it, just as you need to earn their trust. Side note, yes, it is true that there are people who are disrespectful and who, for whatever reason, are defensive and unlikely to let themselves experience your respect. And this is part of what I call the endless fuzzy gray area of leadership. It can be a no-win situation. There are people who simply may not belong on your team. Not everyone is a fit for every organization, right? I mean, we know that. Captain Obvious. Okay, back to the main point. Without respect, you can boss your people around, you can steamroll them, you can issue orders and micromanage, but it will be an uphill struggle to actually sincerely lead them in a way that really gains their full attention and engagement. A team member who feels respected and who in turn respects you will trust you and will give 110%. One who doesn't feel respected and therefore doesn't respect or trust you won't be responsive. I mean, would you? So, what can you do to improve? Have conversations. So much so-called communication within organizations is top-down telling, not real multi-directional conversation. Real conversations with people can be challenging. You leave yourself open to learning things that you might prefer not to know, things about your culture, about the level of trust, and about that often discussed thing called psychological safety. But you can't fix what you don't know about. And then, once you've had those conversations, well, you know that feeling when you think you've gone down all the steps, but whoops, there's one more, or you think there's one more, but there isn't. When you have these real conversations with your people and you learn things about their experience, but then just go back to your office and don't take any action, that's missing the bottom step. When I teach change leadership, I emphasize that you can do all the rest of it really well, but if you miss that last step by not taking action on what you've learned, you pretty much destroy the whole process. You lose credibility and you lose any trust that you've built up by being genuinely open to hearing what they have to say. And yeah, you lose respect because you didn't follow through. And we all know how we feel about people who say they're going to do something but then don't. I once had someone literally ask me, "Don't good intentions count?" No. Absolutely not. After all, we know where the road paved with good intentions leads, right? So, finally, trust is not a skill. Trust is a leadership attribute. Respect is a leadership attribute, but they're not skills. There are people who will probably want to argue with me, but neither trust nor respect are skills. They're qualities, an aspect of how you show up. And if you treat them like a skill or a tool, you'll come across as manipulative, not sincere. You have to really want to know what people think and how they feel, and respect what you learn about what they think and how they feel. And they need to believe, to feel that you want to know and you're willing to make adjustments along the way in terms of what's happening, if necessary. Okay, really big topic. So I'm thinking you may have questions. So as always, leave them in the comments because I love coming back to answer. And hey, tell me about those aha moments too, please, if you had one. And I will say it again, big topic. So if you'd like to talk about it, there's a link below to connect with me, contact me, and we can schedule time to talk about it. And there are also links to some articles on all of this. And you know the drill. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Don't forget to click the bell so you're notified when I release new videos. And then go forth, build respect and trust with your team. Take care.